Hey guys, we're going to be doing something a little different this week. We're going to be looking at Max Factory's 1/20th scale Katyusha and Nonna figure kit from Girls and Panzers, and is part of their minimum factory line, which will be the first time we've been looking at this line. We previously looked at something similar to it in Max Factory's 1/350th Shimakaze kit, albeit I kind of glanced over the figure that was included with that kit. May someday go back and do a proper review of it. But today we're going to be looking at this particular kit. So let's open her on up and get into it. One thing I do need to say before we get too far into it, with this kit, they did all the colors as their individual sprues. But frankly, I think what they could have done is, if you've built Gundam kits, is you'll frequently see that they've combined various sprues together of different colors. And frankly, I feel like that would have made things a little bit less chaotic, I guess is the word. I ultimately admit this is really a bit of a nitpick on my part. But frankly, I think it would help just by the fact you're not going to have sprues going all over the place. So let's get into the kit proper. First up, we have on this sprue the two body halves for the Katyusha figure. Now, interestingly enough, they chose to split it down the middle of the torso instead of doing it laterally. They chose to go vertically. So this presents certain, what I would say, good and bad points. Obviously, if they did it precisely enough and got it so that the cut line lines up with some of the detailing on her outfit, so that it seems basically like a natural break in the fabric, then it will be fine. But otherwise, there is going to need to be some filling in that there. Okay, let's continue on. Next up, we've got some of the hair pieces for the Nonna figure. Again, I'm just sort of grabbing these as they lay, as it were. Overall, some of the detailing, especially in the back hairpiece, is pretty sparse. Granted, this is only 1/20th scale, so you can't complain too much about detail. But when it comes to hair, it would at least been nice to see them try and make a little more effort there. Front piece is a little better. You do get some more detailing as far as individual strands of hair, but not strands, more. I guess what I'm trying to say is a more natural looking breakup of the hair instead of just a solid blob. Oops. Next up, we've got a couple arm parts as well as skirt for the Nonna figure. Overall, not a whole lot to say. Detailing is about the same. Hopefully, here on this one, we should have less issues. Next up, we've got the torso part. Now, on here, detailing is very nice, especially for this scale. You get, obviously, all the buttons and badging, albeit you're going to have to paint them in. They actually do not include any type of decal or anything for that, which we'll get to later. But the fact that they do include this detailing molded in is nice to have, so that you can obviously add it in when you need to. Also like that they did the neck cavity, made it fairly deep so that obviously, if there's any missed paint on when you go to paint the flesh tones on the head and so forth, you're not going to have to worry about any see-through. Continuing on, we've got the helmet for Katyusha. They chose to detail it fairly nicely, so it's a fair representation of the Russian tank or helmet of the period, as well as her boots. Not much to say there. So moving on, We next have Katyusha's hair pieces. Much the same complaint as with Nonna's. The detailing on the back hair piece is pretty lacking, though they do pick up some with the front hair piece. And you can start to see why I was saying it would be nice if they had connected the different sprues just so that you don't have sprues going every which way. Next, we have our base, which is a nice inclusion in my opinion. They also do include decal for it. I'll get to that in a minute. Nonna's boots, which again are fairly nicely detailed. So hopefully it'll show up. As well as another skirt part. Now this is probably the biggest example of why I think they should have done it as connected sprues, is we literally have one sprue for a single scarf part. Now, to me, I think it would have been smart to either A, just bite the bullet and have it the wrong color, or B, as I said, connect them. I'll go talk a little more about that at the conclusion. So last, as far as the sprues are concerned, are our flesh parts. Now, one thing I do like is that they did separate the thigh parts for Nonna from the hips and such, though I'm a little surprised that they actually didn't go all the way and separate her underwear part from the rest of the torso, as obviously probably be white, and it would make sense then that they'd separate that. So interesting choice. Despite being 1/20th scale, they do a decent job detailing the hands, and they thankfully have them segregated by left and right, though I'm surprised that they didn't have each character's hands together, as opposed to doing it solely by whether it's the left or right hand. And similarly, they also do a decent job on molding the faces. Again, this is 1/20th scale, so being able to capture fine detail at this small scale is a nice thing to see. Continue on, though I'm going to leave it in the little packaging, or a sheet of decals, including a nice title card for the base, as well as several decals for the eyes, which I do like that they do include spares. That's always a nice thing to have, in case, God forbid, a decal breaks up on you or something happens. You also get 2 flag pieces, or a couple different flags in several sizes, so you can obviously detail the base as you like. Next up, I also have to point this out, the instruction sheet actually doubles as a poster, which is a nice inclusion. I do wish that kit manufacturers would include, in my opinion, in particular Hasegawa, that's something I've always liked about the Hasegawa box art, is I would love to have something like a print of all of that. So it would have been nice if they included something like that. Here they do, and I applaud them for it. So, as far as assembly is concerned, part breakdown or assembly is pretty straightforward. Building almost either you can go leg up or head down. It's really up to you. The only place where you might run into some issue is attaching Katyusha to Nonna. Since she does have to sit on top of her shoulders, that does present some potential issues, I would say, as far as getting everything to fit correctly. And they even have you not attach the arms until you get her seated. So that is something to be aware of. And not only that, they don't include any type of peg for you to attach her to, so you're probably going to have to drill some type of mounting hole for her, which is unfortunate. And I personally think they should have included at least, like a small peg or something, so you can either mount her, or if you choose not to, you can trim it off and not be worse for wear. Now, probably my biggest disappointment with this kit is the fact that they don't include a proper paint key. They just sort of give you a generic, eye and detail decals go here and there, but that's about it. Frankly, I think they should have included a paint call out that's just me. I think it's a helpful thing to have. Obviously, as modelers, we can always choose to go our own way and go with whatever paint we want, but no, it's nice to have a reference at the very least. So let me get these all back in and I'll close out my final thoughts. No, I also don't usually talk about this. I do like that they give you a nice sturdy box for the kit. That's always a welcome thing, so you don't have to worry about the potential of kit parts being damaged inadvertently, like if you drop the box for whatever reason, or just general wear and tear that might happen. If I get everything sort of squared away in here. Okay. Okay. All right. So overall, I think it's an interesting kit. I end up choosing to go with this one, as I do have several minimum factory kits, and we'll get to those eventually. But I chose this one in part because we've done a lot of Girls and Panzer kits over the years, so I figured to start here. Overall, and this is sort of my opinion on the minimum factory line as a whole. In essence, I feel like they're trying to do for figures what Gunpla did in terms of creating something that you can either, take all the effort you want and paint up real nice, or you can just basically, shake and bake it out of the box, which I like. I think it's nice to have, and if it gets more people interested in the hobby, fantastic. I'm always for something like that. The only thing I would complain, if anything, is I would love to see them do this, albeit with a larger scale. Something like 1/8 would be, in my opinion, something fantastic. So overall, if you're a fan of the series, definitely this is one to look at getting. Obviously, one issue you might have is finding them, as it seems like they sell out very quickly and the resupply time is very long. So it is something to look out for and pick up if you're interested in Girls and Panzer. And if you enjoy making figure kits, I would also recommend it, as it looks like it's a fun little kit. So that was a look at Max Factory's 1/20th scale Katyusha and Nonna figure from Girls and Panzer. Until next time.